Welcome back to Empire State Weekly, everyone. I'm Tim Lake in Albany. The state announcing the first 10 scholarship winners as part of its COVID vaccine incentive program. Now, the winners get a free ride to any SUNY or CUNY school, including room and board. The state is using federal COVID relief funds to pay for this program. And I had the chance to talk to the parent of one of the winners, 12-year-old Jack McAuliffe from Clinton County. His father talked about why he decided to get his child vaccinated.
So we studied the facts. We, did a lot of reading, and, I'd like to say there was no apprehension in this decision, but, I think for all families, I shouldn't say for all, for most families, there is worry. But I think, we looked at all the facts. We looked at, the risks and the rewards of all of it. Later on, seeing that this incentive that the governor had placed, sure, that was a great thing, and we signed my son and daughter up right away after they were vaccinated.
Now, 10 more winners will be announced each week for the next 4 weeks. The scholarship program is to encourage 12 to 17-year-olds in New York to get their vaccinations, and they make up the lowest percentage of eligible New Yorkers now who are fully vaccinated. Joining me now to talk about the issues surrounding vaccine hesitancy and confidence in the vaccine is Dr. Joseph Sellers, the newly elected president of the Medical Society of the State of New York. Dr. Sellers, you're in Cooperstown, and thank you so much for being with us on Empire State Weekly.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, so you're perfect for our questions. Your specialty is also pediatrics. You're from Buffalo. I see on your bio you've done schooling in Rochester, residency in Albany, and you also have a long history with Columbia University in New York and, of course, the Medical Society of the State of New York. So New York State now has an incentive program for people, mostly parents, to sign up their kids at this stage to get their vaccines. Why do you think it is that we've had to offer these incentives, along with other states, to convince people to come in to get the vaccine?
Well, the different people have different levels of confidence in the system and confidence in the vaccine. We went through with early adopters who, I have patients who went to far ends of the state to attend mass vaccination sites and worked really hard to get themselves and their families immunized. And we always have a group of early adopters, people with great confidence in the healthcare system. Now we have people who may have more questions, may need a little more support from their physician, and hopefully will get the vaccine through their physician's office. But then there's still those who need a little more motivation, where maybe COVID isn't as real to them. They're in an area community that maybe had a little less disease, and they have a little less experience. And so having some kind of incentive for them is helpful. And I think we needed all three. We needed to have the mass vaccine sites, and they have served us well. But now we need to step on and to address the hesitancy, to instill confidence in the public. As a physician, that's one of my jobs. I do internal medicine and pediatrics. I see both adults and kids, and one of my jobs is to build a relationship with my patients and the families, and so that when we have recommendations, we have discussions about what is the best plan for each individual patient, that they can trust me and have confidence in the care I'm providing, and help overcome any hesitancy, answer any questions. But again, there are those who are not engaged in the healthcare system as well, or maybe don't have the long-term relationship. And there it may just be an added incentive just to get people in the door, people to ask the questions, get their answers, feel comfortable, feel confident, and get the vaccine.
So now the push here in New York is to get kids vaccinated, as the age group has dropped down to the 12 to 15 age group. And, they're offering even incentives like a free college education at SUNY schools. But it's one thing for parents to get their own vaccination. They might hesitate to get their young kids vaccinated. The next step, of course, would be younger than age 12. As a parent, what do you tell me about the safety of these vaccines for kids and my confidence?
Well, I can give you something very heartfelt that I have 4 grandchildren, and as soon as the age is lowered enough, I'll be helping them make the trip and get the vaccine. I feel very strongly about providing vaccination to all our population, from those in a cradle to those at the other extreme end of life. And we have had good science. We have a phenomenal success in putting together this vaccine, the new technology of these vaccines, the speed of the vaccines, but it was all done with great care, and there's been great oversight. And the proof is that in the millions of New Yorkers who have been vaccinated, it has proven to be very safe. It has proven to be very effective. We have, thank God, we've beaten back the COVID surge that we saw in January, and we are back to a much more normal life. But we got to complete the job. We can't leave it partially done. And so I would say to parents, if you have questions, talk to your pediatrician. If you have concerns, you know, the same folks who give other vaccines to your children, who you trust to take care of your children when they are injured, when they are sick, you can trust them now to have that discussion, ask questions. I really like it when patients come with a list of questions for me, because I want them to be confident in the decisions they are making for their children, and I want to be their partner in that.
You know, Dr. Sellers, with that in mind, it would seem to make sense for me as a parent to be able to take my child into his or her pediatrician, a private doctor, to get the shots. So far, I understand only some doctors in New York City have been able to do this. Why hasn't this been more prevalent statewide?
Well, again, the early process was to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And so we did have these mass vaccine sites with the state and federal government overseeing the supply, the distribution, and the registration, the computer online systems to find a spot and get vaccinated. And that was very, very effective. I have no criticism for how it was done, but now we're on to the next step and getting it into physicians' offices. My office will have it on Monday for children and adults, but it's a lot to work through. You know, we have to have the supply of the vaccine. We have to make sure that the supply is used appropriately, stored appropriately, that there's no waste. But I think we've worked that out, and the physicians' offices around the state have worked that out.
I should point out that your office is in upstate New York, in Cobleskill, and you're speaking to us from Cooperstown. One more question here with about a minute left. Some of the vaccine manufacturers are suggesting that we may need a booster shot later on. Are we confident that this is going to happen, or have the rest of us gotten our 2 vaccines and that's it?
In our state medical society, we did have our governing council meeting, and one of the things that we voted on and we're calling on the state to do is to make sure, if a booster is required, and we don't know that yet, but if it is required, we want to make sure that once again it is available and it is at no cost. We do not want cost barrier. We do not want to have a location barrier. We want to get it to all folks wherever they are, from one end of the state to the other.
All right, well, that's good to hear. It's also good to hear that doctors' offices are going to start administering these vaccines very soon in the privacy of their own offices. Dr. Joseph Sellers, the newly elected president of the Medical Society of New York State, thank you very much for being with us here on Empire State Weekly. Backing up our businesses, applications for the state's $800 million grant program opens on Thursday. What expenses will be covered?